Customer experience, or CX, is increasingly important in the context of search engine optimization. In fact, a Forbes article emphasizes that Google will encourage and reward better customer experiences, indicating that customer experience is in, becoming increasingly intertwined with SEO. I decided to dig a little more and uncovered statistics like these. 81% of organizations cite CX as a competitive differentiator. Six, 68% of online experiences begin with a search engine, and 76% of people who conduct a local search on their smartphone visit a business within 24 hours. Now, these statistics only serve to demonstrate the increasing intertwined nature of CX and SEO, and of course, that a positive customer experience is quite important in terms of search engine visibility and user engagement. However, I am curious as to how our guest views the intersection of SEO, CX, and interdisciplinary collaboration to not only drive SEO success, but to transform the way B2B tech companies approach product development and communication strategies for long term sustainable growth. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, hello and welcome to the Predictable B2B Success podcast brought to you by Sproutwith.com. I'm Vinay Koshy, and our guest today is Astrid Kramer. Now, Astrid, you've been in the online marketing space for well over 13 years, playing roles in both corporate SEO and UX, advising clients with both digital brand and reputation management, conception, and neuromarketing. You've been involved in a number of agencies, perhaps started off initially as SEO consultant at The Reach Group, where you worked with companies like Yellow Pages in Germany, as well as other small and medium-sized businesses. You're a much sought-after trainer, teacher, and speaker, which includes conferences like SMX in Munich, Frankfurt, and Hamburg. I'm curious, Astrid, because you seem to bring together the combination of SEO, CX, accessibility, psychology, and neuromarketing to build products and services. It's a very unusual mixture. So I'm curious, was there a particular event that triggered this journey in perhaps discovering all of these areas and coalescing them into what it is that you do today?
Yeah. Oh, this is a good question. I think that a lot of people who do SEO, especially those people who do it for like me over 10
Mhm,
years, so who are seniors in SEO, they mix a lot of
mhm,
disciplines together because this is one thing this is super important for SEO is that SEO you can't see it like a discipline by itself and independent of everything else.
mhm,
So it doesn't make sense. For example, when I do SEO and I get good rankings and I increase the reach, it doesn't make sense to get a lot of traffic if the user is not happy on my site. So this is just basically one thing this is super important. Now you could say, okay, but it's your job, SEO, make the reach, and we do the rest when we do UX or accessibility or whatever. But we know that Google is taking into account how your site is working and how your customer or your visitor is happy with the site and interacting with the site. And this is super important. For example, Google was saying for a long time that they don't take user signals into account for rankings. And now when they're on trial and they had to discover some of their secrets, and they were saying, yes, of course we take user signals into account. And this is not surprising. It's not surprising for anyone who's doing SEO because we know that Google wants to deliver one perfect result for your search. The dream vision of Google is that you search for something and you get one result, and someone else searches for the same thing and gets another result because it's a personalized, individual, perfectly suitable result.
mhm.
And to do this, they have to know if you are happy with the result you will get, if you can really assess it, if it loads fast enough, if you are really satisfied on this website or not. And so it's you can't divide SEO from all the other disciplines like UX, psychology, because if you write a description and a title, the snippet, you optimize the snippet on Google search, it has to be appealing. If it's not appealing, nobody clicks, and nobody clicks, then Google sees, oh, they rank on position 4, but they have a very bad click-through rate. Maybe position 4 is too good for them, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I'm curious as well, given your journey to date, what would you say would be your personal area of strength?
I guess my biggest strength in SEO or in general is communication. This sounds very
Mhm.
basic, but it is. If you look at SEO, in fact, it's communication. Because if you look at technical SEO, it's the communication between your website and a bot. So this is like, how does one website communicate with an algorithm?
Mhm.
So this is communication. On the other hand, when I do editorial SEO, it's communicating with people, it's communicating with the client, with the visitors. So it's always, how do I deliver the information I have? And I studied information science, so this is my core field. And yeah, and basically that is it. How do I present and transfer information to someone who's listening or an algorithm who has to understand what is the value of my site?
Mhm. So, in that area of strength, this area of
Hmm?
communication, what would you say is something that businesses don't know but should?
Hmm. I guess one of the biggest mistakes companies do still is they talk about themselves. So they very often a company takes as perspectives themselves and they present themselves as the best solution for
Yeah.
something. We are working hard, we deliver great results, we do. And this, it doesn't matter. So what matters is that I, as a client or potential client, I see a website of a company or I see the presentation of a company and I have a problem and I want a solution. And my problem is I need a new bike. And this company says, for you, I have the perfect bike for the city. You have kids, you can have the kid with you, or you go into the mountains. This is very sporty and lightweighted. What is super important is that you always take the perspective of your client or your potential client and not yourself. And this is something we maybe it's I don't know that we do it automatically that we think we have to present
Yeah.
ourselves the best way we can. But this is very often the worst thing we can do.
Mhm.
It's very good to give our clients a good feeling, to give them the feeling you are worthy, you have a problem, we have the solution, you can trust us. So this perspective is super important.
I would certainly agree with you. However, when we say communication, on the face of it, what you just shared certainly makes a lot of sense. However, at least in my experience, I often listen to people in the SEO field or perhaps in particular industries who do not have customers in front of them and decide what customers should be shown or what information should be shared with them. However, the idea of communication would suggest that there should be a degree of listening. So I'm curious,
Mhm.
how do you engage in the listening aspect of communication as far as SEO and CX is concerned?
Yeah, there's this very popular saying, you can't not communicate. And this is exactly what everyone does. For example, when somebody does a search, then we get in our tools a certain search volume for a certain search term. Of course, it's not, these are not crucial data. So this is always like vague data, but it is vague, is data we can analyze. So we get information. What are the people searching for? How are they searching for? What are their problems around a topic? Which words do they use? Which words don't they use? What are the most frequent questions about it? Are they on Google? Are they clicking on images or videos? Do they want to have news about this topic? All that stuff. So the searcher communicates via the search engine with us. We
Mhm.
just have to analyze the data. And then we can say, okay, we have a topic about bicycles and mountain bikes. And these are the frequently asked questions of people. This is something they are really interested in. These are the problems of the potential client. And I then try to solve those problems based on data. So this is my kind of listening. Of course, I can also I talk to my clients, so this is another
Right.
kind of listening. But the listening to a not known
Mhm.
audience online is just analyzing data.
And that makes sense. When you talk about data, most people are thinking of a whole range of tools, including those from companies like Google that would offer both insights into keywords and search results, etc., trends and things of that nature. Is there anything else that you would recommend we invest in order to ensure that we have access to quality data, but also data that's actually representative of where our target customers are at in their thinking?
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky question. Where are they in their thinking? I guess really you can read a lot of a good made keyword analysis. So this is a very good basis to see the funnel and how are the people thinking about the topic, where do they stand, what do they need. And to do this, you need a professional SEO tool. So you can't do SEO without a professional tool. You can do basic SEO with the free tools like the Google Search Console or something like this. But if you really want to do a keyword research that is basically really working, you need something like SEMrush, for example. You need a tool you pay for, but this is just essential also because you get ranking data. You get ranking data for yourself, but and the search console is limited and the data they give you, they don't give you all the information. So you have a very huge database of rankings you have, and more important, you can analyze your competitors too. So if you have a tool like the Google Search Console, you only see your own data and only your performance on Google. So this is just all. It's a super super nice free tool, but it's limited. But you can see your competitors and what are their best landing pages, the most visited landing pages, where do they get the most traffic from, what are the most important rankings, and then you can see what do they do, what I don't do. So this is a kind of analysis that is super important. Yeah, if you do SEO, you have to invest in a professional SEO tool. So they're not super expensive. You pay €100, I don't know, whatever currency you use, and that's it per month. So this is not a big deal, but it's necessary.
Certainly. So investing in tools is important. SEO has been around for quite a while. What kind of misconceptions do you run into, given your experiences in your interaction with clients? Yeah.
Mhm. I guess one of the biggest misconceptions of SEO, not only with clients, really with everyone you meet, you talk about SEO, is that SEO still is seen by a lot of people like something where you exploit mistakes Google does and you do some tricks and then you get some rankings and then you get a lot of money. Something like this. Always a little bit shady and gray and I don't know. I have still the issue that a lot of clients don't want to that I say, can I take you as testimonial? Oh, we don't want people to know that we do SEO, even though it's not nothing illegal or I don't know. But there's a history behind it. So when I started with information science, I knew some people who did SEO, and in the year 2000, 2003, I don't know, it was working exactly like this. You were exploiting flawless of Google. So if they were have had weaknesses, you exploited them, you got a lot of money, and then you had to change your website, your brand, whatever, and go forward and make the next spammy site and exploit everything and make a lot of money. This was working. So because Google was not very good, but it's not working anymore. It for years it's not working anymore because Google is so good, and not only Google, every search engine is so good that they see if you are spammy, if you're doing some tricks, if you do some gray hat, black hat, whatever, and or if the user can really trust you. So it's not that easy anymore. So I guess this is one misconception that SEO is something shady. You buy links, you break rules, something like this. This is all is not working.
Yeah.
You don't work against Google. If you want to be successful, you work with Google. So you say, okay, Google is a tool that brings me visitors, and I have to work that they like me, and then they bring me traffic. So it's not against, it's with Google. And the second thing, and this is super important, and this is something that I also see today with clients, is it's still the idea that you have a SEO as a discipline that you add on a website. So what happens very often is that somebody calls me and says, okay, we just did a relaunch. Can you check now the SEO? Oh my God, please take me into the boat when you do a paper prototype. or the conception of the website, when you're planning what you're doing. And then SEO should be there from the first steps, really in the planning of the website, not when it's done, because it's not like you build a car and SEO is the color of the car. No, it has to be in the planning directly. Yeah, I guess those two are the most often misconceptions of SEO.
You make some great points there. Given the way the way technology has evolved today, there is there are a lot of options for people to engage with brands, including people within the organization as well. How important is it now, in light of this idea of communication, or SEO being communication, for an organization to invest in and educate their staff in order to contribute to the ongoing communication with customers, sharing their expertise, etc., in order to not just improve their brand awareness, but also SEO visibility?
Yeah, this is super important because basically SEO should not exist. Basically, you should not need it. So if you have a web developer who names everything what it is clearly, communicates clearly, this image is not XP7325 JPEG, it's a tree dot JPEG. So that it's easy. It's just communication. So if they do the website very fast so that the clients are happy, this is their job. So if they do this, if they say, okay, I take into account page speed and how do I name everything and the correct status codes, how the website communicates with the bot. So then we don't need technical SEO. If the people who write articles, the editorial stuff, if they take into account, okay, my headline has to mention the keyword because the people want to know what is going on. I need to have a clear headline structure also for accessibility. If they know what they do, and if they say, okay, then we need a title and a description for the article, we don't need SEO anymore because the people do it by themselves. If the public relations department know that they should insert some links to the website, some deep links where the visitor really comes to the point where they find more information about this press release, even though it's not a link, it's just a written URL, doesn't matter. But if they know that they do that perfectly. So if they know that maybe the press release they give out is not the same press release you have on your own website, you use other words. However, you can rewrite it with ChatGPT. I don't care, but you can just make it different. Then we don't need SEO and so on. You see, like SEO is in so many departments relevant because basically it's just, as I said, communicating with the client and communicating with the bot. If everyone does it, they don't need us anymore. And that would be cool. What I really liked is when companies they see that and they say, okay, let's have a workshop for SEO and we invite a lot of departments.
Hmm.
So this is great because then you see, okay, I don't know, the people in customer service. So they get all the phone calls, they get the emails where the people are complaining, where they tell their problems. Give the editorial staff all those problems and the information from the phone calls and the emails, and then they can answer it on the website directly. So this is all working together, and then they don't need us anymore. So that would be awesome.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Part of your role, if I understand this correctly, is educating organizations on SEO and perhaps enabling their internal teams. Would that be correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. It was, I don't know why, it was more often some years ago that I was booked for workshops. I have to say, in the introduction, you said that I worked a lot with small and mid-sized businesses. I'm more into big
Enterprise.
corporations and publishers. So I had more the bigger companies because there I was able to do a consultation on another level. So I had, I did not do to implement SEO tips by myself. I had a company and an IT department I could educate, but this was the job, or this still is the job to say, okay, I talk to the IT department and I bring them everything they need to know about SEO so that in the future, there is no need for an SEO consultancy anymore. Yeah, this is a big part of the job. And I like it. It's really because SEO is so evolving, and Google is evolving, all the search engines are evolving, that I'm not afraid that if a client knows everything and he doesn't need me anymore, then I'm out of business. This is not happening because there is a lot of work to do. Enabling in-house is super satisfying. I don't know, I know there are agencies who work in a different way, who say, oh, we want to keep that client for some years. But for me, it's not satisfying, because then they need me all the time, but I don't see the progress. And I really like it when I see that they started hiring me for SEO consultancy, and 2 years later, they have a junior SEO in-house, and then I train this junior SEO, and then the junior becomes an SEO, and then they get another SEO trainee, and then they have their own small SEO department in the company. And this is super nice, because then you see results. Because as I said, SEO is not something you put on and poof, something happens.
Yeah,
It has to be in the DNA of the company, and then something happens. Yeah.
certainly. Do you find that SEO is still placed under marketing?
Never thought it's really placed under marketing. I always saw it as a part of product strategy,
Right.
product development, because I think that your website or your app or however you communicate is part of your product, even though you're selling something else. But this is the product, how you go outside and have the touch point with your clients. And seeing it only from the perspective, how can I sell more, or how can I make more revenue, is, in my opinion, the wrong way to see it. Because, for example, a lot of people underestimate the power of SEO in brand building or reputation management. If you have negative search phrases around your brand, it's crucial that you answer those negative comments, not your competitor, not TripAdvisor or whoever gets the negative comments. You have to be the one person who says, oh, you heard that we are bad in this. Sorry for that, but it's because of, and we got better in the last year, or it was never like that. This, it's a misunderstanding. However, but be there for your brand. And this pays off in the third step or in the fourth step, not directly. It's not getting traffic, convert, making money. It's not like this. It's somebody searching for my brand on Google, and they see a good big picture, and not my competitors saying something bad about me. So this is very underestimated in SEO, I guess. The strategic part of SEO is underestimated.
Certainly, and thank you for sharing that. Related thought: there's often times discussion, at least that I've been party to or heard, for senior executives to make an investment decision. They want to know that SEO and perhaps reputation management and such things can actually deliver results that matter to the company. I'm curious, how do you navigate those conversations and show an accurate forecast of what is possible?
Yeah, you have different angles where you can reach that challenge. It is a challenge because you don't have the direct revenue of you buy an ad,
Yeah.
you get a conversion or not. So you don't have it. But for example, the tools like SEMrush, Systrix, whatever SEO tool you use, they invented a very interesting KPI, and that is how much would I have to pay for the organic traffic I get if I would try to get this traffic via ads. So this is one number you can say, you can deliver to the C level. You can say, okay, listen, this is our organic traffic at the moment. We would have to pay $10,000 every month to get the same traffic via Google Ads. So now give us please 10,000 more, and we can triple this result, and this is all money we save. So this is just the numbers. You can really show how much money the company saves by organic results. This is one thing. The other thing is what I really like, and this is where SEO and UX come together. I'm a huge fan of user testing. And there are companies like rapidusertests.com, for example, where you get very cheap, so it's not a big investment, very cheap user tests. And you can make user tests not only on your website, you can do user tests on Google. for example. So you can say, okay, please search for this brand. And what is your first impression? What is your impression when you see the first results to this brand, when you see the local results? Do you like the snippet? Would you click on this or another? And then the C-level sees real people, not us onliner and e-commerce experts, but real people who say, oh, but they don't, it doesn't look like they have what I want. Or, oh, look at this result, it has nicer pictures. Or, oh, there are some stars, I like the stars, I click on the site with the reviews and so on. And then they realize, ah, damn, maybe we need the microformats and the reviews on our sites ourselves because our competitors do it. So this is something I really love because you have user testing, the people are filmed while they search for something, they make thinking aloud, they say, okay, I don't like this, I like this. And this is usually a very easy way, a qualitative way, not a numbers based way, but a very good way to say, look, we need more SEO or we need SEO.
Okay. And the other question I had in mind, especially when you're looking at larger companies with websites and portals which may have thousands, if not tens of thousands of pages, from that
Mhm.
perspective, as an SEO expert, how would you advise that they go about finding low hanging fruit? Because I would imagine that doing your traditional audit and things would not necessarily work very well given the volume of content that they have. On an enterprise level, what would be the best ways to determine what low hanging fruit to go after, but also to be able to scale results very quickly and rapidly given the volume of content?
Are scaling easily and rapidly, and low hanging fruits very often occur on huge websites on the technical part of
Right.
SEO. Building up content is always takes time, it
Mhm.
takes money, it takes effort. So you can't do it scalable like this, even though now we have tools to help us creating awesome articles. But still, this is more effort. But very often, when a website has more than 100,000 pages or more, then very often you have issues like the wrong status codes. You have, I don't know, a lot of 404 pages that are not redirected to other pages that work, or you give Google a lot of things to crawl, pagination, like search results, whatever. And Google is crawling. And then they say, okay, this is our crawl budget, and you don't get more. And they don't see the really important sites. What you do when you have a huge website is you make a technical analysis. You do the same for small websites. So it's just you make a crawling. This is super important. You have to crawl the website to see it, how the bot would see it. And then there you can, then the job of an SEO then is to prioritize what is important now and what is not important. So it doesn't make sense to, I don't know, optimize for the core web vitals if this makes only a little bit like this, but the IT needs 3 weeks to do everything that is recommended to identify what is unused JavaScript on this page. But if you see that 60% of all the images that are used on a website are bigger than 100 kilobyte, then this is a low hanging fruit. So make the images smaller, make the website faster, boom, that's it. And this is super easy made and super fastly made. But this is also something where you have to find a SEO consultancy or someone you trust, because of course it's easier to say those are the 100 issues I found on your website. You have to work on it. I will help you. It will take us 1 year or more. Let's work on it. It's harder to say, okay, I found 100 issues, and from this 100 issues, five are really helping you. I identified those five. I give it to you. You don't need me anymore. Just do it and you will gain. But this is the way to do it, because the other thing is just, I don't know, give work to the IT department, and they usually have enough work before you come as an SEO and say, please do this. And prioritizing is not easy too. This is a question of experience, because Google is a black box. They don't tell you, okay, if you change your title tags, you get a ranking boost, or a better click-through rate, then you get a ranking boost. Or in your case, you should care about those sites. They give you hints on the Search Console, but they don't do consultancy. So you as a consultant have to decide what is for this client super important. And vice versa, very often for very small sites, I don't recommend technical SEO. When
Yeah.
I see they have huge problems, then I say, okay, you really have to fix those status codes. That's a real game changer. But this is one thing you have to do if they really screwed up. But then I say, take your money, put it into social media, find your target group, make LinkedIn advertisement. I don't know where your target group is, and then take care that your website is decently working, has nice content, and the people are interacting with you, and that's it. So this is always, you have to take into account in SEO, what company do I have, what manpower, what woman power do I have, how much can I put into my efforts to gain more reach, and then decide what is the low hanging fruit and what is maybe way too perfectionist and doesn't bring anything, in a nutshell.
Sure. Brilliant. You've touched upon this idea of bringing various disciplines to play in order to achieve SEO outcomes. Is there perhaps another aspect to this idea of interdisciplinary collaboration in order to enhance the effectiveness of SEO strategies that we haven't touched upon this yet? If so, what would they be?
Yeah, we have talked about a lot of collaborations that are possible. But for example, if you have someone who is doing your SEA, so everyone who's doing SEA has to do a very profound keyword analysis. And they get a lot of data, which ad is working very good, which keywords are working for us very good, and which keywords are not working very good. And it's incredible, but very often SEA and SEO don't talk to each other.
Right.
But this is 50% of the work. So you can just say, okay, we have SEO and we have SEA. You both are search. Please work together. So share your results, share your knowledge, and then you can save a lot of money and time and effort when they really work close together. So this is one thing that is super important. And then everything I mentioned before, it's the technical part, it's social media, it's public relations, it's customer service, it's also sales. Everyone who is in contact with your client or your product has to be in contact with with SEO too. I've seen so often that a lot of money is spent in television advertisements still, and this is the cool stuff. So it's still nicely working out, but if you don't talk to SEO, then maybe you have on television, you created a slogan and an actor who's super impressive, and the people start searching for the actor or they are searching for the slogan, but you did not communicate with your editorial SEO team, so they did not build up landing pages for this slogan or for this actor who's presenting your brand on television, and then you're missing huge opportunities. So this is just, there should always be in a mind, okay, what do we do and how can we reflect what we do online? Yeah.
Some advice there. I'm also curious with social media. It's obviously something that more and more companies are investing in, not just in terms of having a presence, but of being quite active on there. How would you recommend we leverage social media platforms as part of our SEO strategies?
Oh, it's super important. I'm not doing TikTok and stuff. I have people in my team to do it, but at the moment, I guess we are around 10% of searches. I saw some case studies where companies said 10% of our organic traffic comes from TikTok. Now, this platform is a search engine, or it's becoming a search engine. And this is something you have to take into account. But as I said, TikTok and stuff is not my expertise. I am into the classical SEO and YouTube, for example, optimization for YouTube or Amazon. So those are my expert fields. But you see it, all these are search engines, all these are search experiences, and all these are search experience you can optimize for. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I'm also curious about how we involve our customers into the overall SEO strategies that we come up with. Have you observed instances where incorporating customer stories into content has affected SEO performance?
Oh, now I have to think because I have so many different clients and industries. Yeah. Yeah, that value of your content is getting better when you say, okay, we have our FAQ part on the website and we really integrate the real questions people have when they call us or when they write us emails. So something like this. So, but as I said, you can always take into account the data you get from tools or search volume data. I have one example. I have a client, they are super successful for 2 years now because 2 years ago we started to build up pages. It's German, but we started to build up pages for search phrases around, are dogs allowed to eat tomato? Are dogs allowed to eat banana? Are dogs allowed? And so on. And on first sight, it looked spammy. So it was like we can't build up for every fruit and every vegetable a landing page. It's spammy. So they had one landing page, fruits and vegetables, and we wrote a lot of great content, and they got a lot of traffic on these sites. But then I started to make keyword research. How often are the exact phrases searched for? And in Germany, the numbers are smaller than in the States, for example, of course. But there were like 2,400 people per month searching for, are dogs allowed
Right.
to eat apples? And we built up around 50 landing pages for every fruit, for every, because it just makes sense. Because the people in this moment, they stand in their kitchen and the dog is eating their banana and they're like, oh my God, is the dog allowed to eat the banana? So this is a concrete question. And we got huge traffic via those search queries because we just found something that people were searching for. It was also funny because it took maybe 3 months. Then the competitors started to build up the same content, of course. This is the nice thing on SEO, that you see everything, but it's also the downside that everybody sees what you do. But we still have the featured snippets on most of those search phrases, maybe because we were the first ones, maybe because we're very relevant. The brand is very relevant for dog food and dog health and all that stuff. So yeah, this is working. But this is, yeah, as I said, this is a very, this is data analysis, and you have the data and then you build something for the client. Yeah. But of course, you should also analyze the data you have by yourself. And this is the customer service. This is whatever you get feedback from. This is your internal search. A lot of websites don't analyze their internal search. What are people searching for on my website? Not on Google, but on my website. And then I can see, oh my God, they're all searching for X, Y, and I don't have a landing page for this. Something like this.
Obviously, given the fact that there's a lot of conversation around AI and large language models, it is on the top of people's minds. How do you see AI being implemented increasingly into our SEO strategies?
Yeah, I guess there are different angles. So on the one side, you have the tools that help you. So for example, you can use ChatGPT for a lot of stuff. So I use it as a text assistant. So I don't use it as my editor. I don't put a text in and then I publish it. It's not working. But I work with ChatGPT to get great content, to get nice results. This is one possibility that I have. On the other hand, and this is super tricky, is that when ChatGPT went live 2022, the people said, "Oh my God, it's a new search engine." And they said it even though ChatGPT was not able to reach the internet in the beginning. Now they cooperate with Bing and now they can access the internet, but they were not able in the beginning. But still, people were saying, oh my God, it's a new search engine. And there were a small disclaimer. So, look, our information ends in 2021. Our database ends in 2021. We don't have actual news or whatever. Doesn't matter. People were using ChatGPT as a search engine. So they saw, OpenAI saw, okay, this is what people want to have. So they cooperated with Bing. And now you can search with Bing and you can say to ChatGPT, for example, write me an actual article about this topic that was interesting yesterday and do a research around it. And it does a research. So this is one thing. But the other part is, how do I rank in ChatGPT? Because this is something that can happen. That somebody is asking, what is the best brand for mountain bikes? And then I want to be the recommended brand on ChatGPT. And there are some ways you can optimize for this. And the funny thing is that it's still classical SEO on one hand, but then you have to understand how is ChatGPT built. And they
Mm,
have a huge database. It's common crawl. So they get every information they get from the internet is in the common crawl database. But then they have 4% of their knowledge comes from Reddit.
mm,
So it's a little bit comparable with Google and Wikipedia. So you have Google, you have Wikipedia, and Google always rated articles from Wikipedia quite high
mm,
because they said Wikipedia is how to say curated by humans. So we know the content on Wikipedia is revised by humans. Same for Reddit. So on ChatGPT, you can say only 4% of the database is based on Reddit
mhm,
content, but on ChatGPT, it's counted 5 times more important that the common crawl results because we know on Reddit the people vote
yeah.
the content high or low. So there is interaction. There is really a revision by humans. One part of your SEO strategy at the moment and for the future should be take your public relations on board and write cool articles that you publish also on Reddit.
Mm,
Then you take your social media into account and you say, please, we have published something on Reddit. Spread the word that we get likes. And then maybe when we are lucky, we get into this small 4% part of the database for ChatGPT and then we are recommended.
mm,
So this is an approach where you can see very clearly how everything works together.
yeah.
And if you take all this into account, you can be super successful.
Thank you again for sharing that. Astrid, I think we've covered a fair bit of ground, but is there an aspect or two with this idea of developing SEO strategies and bringing in various disciplines into that that you find doesn't get talked about very much? If so, what would they be?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the question.
Sure.
What?
Is there an area or two around this idea of building out SEO strategies by bringing in various
Mhm,
disciplines that you find
mhm.
doesn't get talked about very much by people? If so, what would they be?
Well, I guess this whole part of developing
Mhm,
an SEO strategy. So even in the blue because you don't have the concrete numbers
mm,
on everything. You don't have the will it bring me that much revenue? So what is the forecast for next year? All that stuff. But to understand what I was just explaining the
mhm,
last minutes, to understand how everything works
yeah,
together, to say, okay, I understand it's important to take into the both public relations and social media and UX and SEO and the technical guys and sales and service,
mhm,
bring them all together, understand that I need them all to have a great user experience online. This is something that, even though I don't see the revenue in 3 months,
mhm,
so this is the big challenge. So to get like a digital DNA in the company. I guess this is one of the biggest challenges. And I can't say, and this is something in SEO. In SEO, you have always the answer, it depends.
mhm,
Because it depends on the client, on the
yeah,
industry, on your target group, on the keywords. It always depends on the actual situation, the
mhm,
trends, the season, whatsoever. It depends, but you can't say that this is a problem only in big corporations or only in small businesses. So they all have their challenges. So the big corporations, they have like the hierarchy and the processes that are already implemented and the communication that takes a lot of time, a lot of time, a lot of time, and so on. You have small businesses who can be very agile and very fast, but they don't have money, they don't have the resources to do what they have to do. So every side has huge challenges. But
mhm,
to bring the mindset into the company, a small company or a big company, the mindset that people are on the internet for search for information. So this is something you said in the introduction. For me, this is so mind blowing that I had numbers, but maybe they were from Germany, that people who use the internet, over 90% say they use it for search for information. And 87% say they write emails. So searching for information is even more done on the internet than writing emails.
mhm,
And still, we have we just saw a study by Ahrefs, by an SEO tool. They took into account all the websites they track and all the data they have. And they said over 90% of those websites don't get any traffic at all from Google or organic search engines. So you have the two things. A lot of people are searching for information. I don't present my information that it's searchable, that it's findable, that the people really get it. So this is bring this together. And this is something when I started with SEO, 2007 after the university. For me, it was clear that this is a very specific topic. So we were like 50 people in Germany. We all knew each other. We were writing blog posts. There was no social media. We were writing blog posts and sharing knowledge and blah, blah, blah. So this was a very niche thing. But I never thought that it will be a niche product in 2024 still, because we have so many information systems
Yeah.
we have to optimize for that every company should have SEO or take SEO into account, and they don't. So I guess don't have one area as a with a challenge, two areas with a challenge. You have the big challenge to still get SEO out of the corner, out of the, oh, those are technical nerds, those are people who trick the search engine, those are spammers, whatever. Take it out of this corner and bring it into the DNA of the company. This is the biggest challenge in SEO, I guess.
Brilliant. I'll ask. I think you've already answered this question, but I'll ask you anyway. If you were listening to this episode, what would you say would be your top takeaway?
Yeah, I guess the top takeaway is don't do siloing. Don't
Okay. Yeah.
say, I have
Yeah.
one person for this, one person for this, two people for this, and they don't talk to each other. And then we do our tasks and everyone does his job. And at the end of the year, we look who made money. Oh, SEO didn't make a lot of money. So we have a problem with SEO.
Yeah.
No, bring them together, bring them all together. This is crucial. It's also cool for the team and it works in an only remote company too, but bring them together that the processes are optimized by the people who work together. Yeah.
Okay. And Astrid, for those who are curious, want to find out more or connect with you, where would you recommend they head to?
Oh, you can find me, of course, on LinkedIn. I don't know if you have like show notes or
Yes.
links, then
Yes.
we can put the links on it. Or you can find my company, getemall.com, all written together. Getemall.com. We are a network of freelancers. This is it fits very good in this episode because we are experts on different fields who work together for the clients. So this is the idea
Right.
behind Get 'em All. Yeah, there you find me.
Okay. We'll include links to that in the show notes. Astrid, thank you so much for doing this. It's been brilliant.
I thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.